That's right. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Defend Middle AM. I am your host.
Welcome to Virtual Dungeon Dice, and I am your Dungeon Master, Brian. All right, guys. Welcome, new people. Hello to everybody that potentially recognizes us, and hello to the few family and friends that are actually going to watch this. Welcome to Virtual Dungeon Dice, our Dungeons and Dragons podcast that is basically about virtual D&D, playing on Roll20. This is the start of our new campaign. We did kind of a brief session 0 where I basically just railroaded them through some long-winded combat, and now we're basically jumping into our full session. So I don't want to spend too long kind of explaining the start, and what we're going to be doing with the show. There's a couple of key things, what can be expected. So we play every 4 weeks. This is mostly due to my work schedule. I work 2 weeks on, 2 weeks off. So does Luuk. So it just does not allow us to play every week, and playing twice when I'm home is just difficult. So we play long sessions once every 4 weeks. But I don't want to put out a session that large is one piece. So we're going to break that up into probably 2 or 3 pieces, and then maybe try to put something else out to kind of fill the void. And day of the week, we'll see. The first day of the week we put, it'll be then auto going. I'm leading Tuesday, nostalgia's sake. So yeah, that's kind of the plan here with this. Welcome to this current campaign. I have named it Order of the Crimson Moon. It sounds edgy. It's meant to be edgy. It's basically a teenage boy's edgy D&D story. 32-year-old man who's edgy is still like a teenager. Anyway, this is going to be taking place in the nation of Altrea. And I think really the only thing I thought about that I think is really important to kind of have a presense for the way this campaign world is set up is in this world, basically shit's hit the fan. Things are not doing so good. Kind of meant to be a dark gothic-y tone. All the party members are part of the Order of the Crimson Moon. And the Order of the Crimson Moon goes by 2 rules. The first one is justify your kill. And the second one is to protect the innocent. And within that, they typically justify their kill based on violence done to other people, harm done to other people, not so much justifying for their own needs, but more for the benefit of others. And a bit of a kind of a mercenary, ends justify the mean kinds of group. And that's kind of, so when we get into it, that's kind of, I guess, the big thing we want to go into. So I think what's also kind of fun to get going before we kind of get started. Let's start with introducing each of the characters. Now, the players have all seen the art. If we need to, we can rethrow it in the Discord chat. I'm going to throw the art up on the YouTube video, and if you happen to check this out as podcast form, you can find all the art, which I'll post on my Twitter. We'll have links and everything. We'll put them all at the end rather than flooding you now. So we'll start with Aiden, who's playing Oren. Aiden, give a brief description of Oren for everybody as we look at the art.
Yeah. I think the briefest summary I could give is that Oren is a woodsman and a hunter with sort of a darker past who was brought into the Order after he was captured. He is a Gloomstalker ranger and specializes especially in infiltration and assassination.
All right, that's a good description. We'll go to Luuk. Describe Shub for us.
So I'm playing Shub. He's a half-elf aberrant mind sorcerer, and he's got the whole amnesia trope because he was abducted by aliens, dumped into a destroyed hut where he woke up, and now he's trying to find basically what his past was.
We don't know if he was abducted by aliens, but he strongly believes it.
He was abducted by aliens.
Matt, why don't you give us a description of Dr. Theric Lunarseeker?
PhD.
Right,
Dr. Theric Lunarseeker, the high elf, born to a fairly modest, fairly wealthy, rich elf family. He was always a very confused and intriguing child. As a young age, he would find animals in the woods and like dead animals, and he would start poking around, having a look on what makes the animal body work in this case. This led him to a fascination of science and medical field. thus getting him to a very prestigious university. Once he got there, he was very disappointed with the way classes and lectures are taught. You see, in the modern age, modern being in D&D, you don't need to know what cancer is. You just need to know how to heal it. Very basic healing spells. He wishes to go back to the olden days of medical science with knives and scalpels and sewing and stitching people back up. Thus, he has donned the plague doctor outfit in those times. Upon his graduation, his thesis was about how he could do surgery on himself, remove his own liver, and replace it with a dwarven liver, which they passed him, but they did not grant him the rank of doctor. They did not give him a license to practice, thus finding the order. The order could pull some strings, get him his official license as long as he worked for them. That is how he came to the order. But he's definitely a little bit off, a little bit crazy. So I'm excited to play this character.
Matt's character is also an elf, and we did like a hybrid kind of artificer cleric. It's basically a cleric with some of the flavor of an alchemist artificer.
Less of the religion aspect, but yeah.
He's a healer. Yeah.
He heals.
It's kind of weird. It's kind of plays on the idea of like the class could also just be the backbone when realistically the theme is what matters. So we're not super focused on the religion side, but he can cast Cure Light Wounds because he's basically just got a pocket full of healing potions that he's custom making, and we'll just work within the balances of the game. And then we've also got Bryce playing Brint.
Yep, my Brent the Agency is a fallen Aasimar, is a blood hunter. From a small village. He was pretty much the main protector of the village, and one day the party I was with was defeated. I was left for dead, and I've been on a journey to both become stronger and find whatever it was, the beast that defeated my party. So you'll see as I have ventured to get more power, a lot of it's came at an expense. A lot of it's been darker power, as you can see. Brent's feathers are falling off, and it may seem at times that he's losing his mind because he may look like he's talking to himself, but we'll see how that plays out.
All right, so it wouldn't be proper, YouTube without a whole bunch of technical difficulty, but we're not going to redo everything, but we are going to redo Noah's, and then we'll continue forward, or Flint. So Flint, aka Noah, introduce us to your character.
Yeah, he's a human gunslinger, was previously a soldier that has since left his nation's military after his entire squad was wiped out by monsters as part of expansion efforts into new territory. He's got a bit of PTSD surrounding that and has decided to hook up with the Order of the Crimson Moon to better facilitate hunting down the monsters that killed his squad. He likes to tinker with guns. He's made his own shotgun that has a saw blade mounted to the front of it. And kind of just a grim-looking gunslinger, salt and pepper hair. I'm sure the art will come up at some point, and it will look dope.
All right, cool. So that's all the characters. I think now we can jump into session 1 after a hefty amount of work to get there. All right. So I'd say last where we left off, but last where we left off was after I was shoehorning you through session 0 just to like test out your combat and learn things about it. But in session 0, to get the party started, to kind of get them on their standard kind of hunts that the Order likes to participate in, I had them basically, they tracked down and hunted a whole bunch of slavers that were coming through and pulling a bunch of slaves through. They tracked them down, they hunted them, and they basically executed them without mercy. This was happening, as I'll show the map here at this point, this was happening down in Marthorn. It's here in the Nation of Tempest, so most of the campaign, or where the party's starting anyway, is taking part in the Nation of Tempest, the blue area. And they were down in the kind of the crime capital city here in Marthorn. They tracked it down. They took them all out. And then the party was like, well, job well done. Let's head her back to our kind of main operating area over in Cinderbrook. Took them about kind of 2 weeks of travel. And we start the campaign as they've basically now just started to see Cinderbrook just in the close range distance. So as you guys kind of come in, you're on a cart. You're not walking that far. You know, you've got 3-4 horses pulling a cart, 2 people kind of rocking the front, kind of taking turns, as it's just the easiest way to travel. You see the gates of Marthorn, the gates of Cinderbrook out kind of in front of you. Gate just kind of hanging wide open. You can kind of tell that there's some old banners from the Tithanis family that was running it that have kind of just like fallen ragged. You know, instead of having 2 hooks, there's kind of hanging on one and kind of shredded and frayed a little bit. As the guard posts are just completely abandoned and empty. This, of course, is familiar to you, as you've seen them every time you've come into Cinderbrook. It's kind of the main gate entry into Cinderbrook. Cinderbrook being at the kind of the base of the mountain, they were able to, you know, have the mountains on the one side and then kind of solidify their defenses on the front side. Except for, of course, the travel that they have coming in there from the west. So as you enter it, you're starting to travel, you know, through the city. You're on your way to Phalor Keep, which is where the Tithanis family used to reside, but is now the basically base of operations for the Order of the Crimson Moon. You're greeted by the familiar sights as you're driving through of kind of just how run down parts of the city have come. You can kind of tell where this lack of government has affected some areas, but not others. The streets are dirty. There's no one that cleans the streets. There's no guards that you see patrolling the streets. But many of the buildings are actually still kept in fairly okay shape, as there's still shopkeepers that try to keep a business and try to keep going. However, you do see, in lieu of guards, as you see equivalently bodyguards or hired men actually covering, you know, most of the businesses and shops. As a result of this, you're actually seeing more kind of armed protectors than you actually saw prior to the government, but they're all private contractors. As you're kind of going through, you know, many of the people around the area kind of scatter. It's well known, you know, you guys are all fairly well known within the area. Every member of the order is fairly well known. You start to see, you know, even some of the homeless people scatter. You can kind of gather to yourself that, like, well, the ones that kind of won't look at you or take off upon your sight might have something to hide, whereas the others, some of them almost seem like comforted, like, well, while they're going by, no one's going to stab me, so I'm pretty okay. So it's kind of this mixed kind of reputation that way. A lot of the hired guards kind of, you know, nod and agree, but the same thing, you see some kind of avert their gaze, but you're not going to investigate everybody you ever see. As you're then kind of, you know, creeping past it, as you get closer to the base of the mountain, and then you kind of take the dip off, and as you start heading over to Phalor Keep. Phalor Keep, kind of off in the distance, it really stands out. Compared to a lot of the other places, it is the home of the noble family, effectively the leadership, kings, if you know, back in the days of kings, within Tempest. And as you start to get up, you know, the big thing you see along with this big mansion is it has one big singular tower on its left side that really stands out, and within it you see the big red clock. You know, it's basically a big red clock with the stained glass kind of window behind the clock. Yeah, so you hear that, you see that as you look at it. You can see that the time is stuck at 1 o'clock. That was the time that the clock stopped, and it stopped happening, or stopped ticking, during the assault on Cinderbrook and the fall of Cinderbrook nearly 36 years ago. You then kind of enter in. You go to open the door. You do have a key to the door. You're able to head over to your barracks. You kind of drop off the gear that you don't really feel like carrying at the time, as you then walk on through to the back, take the stairs down, and go into the bar that Scarlet had commissioned and built inside. And that's kind of where we'll start things off here, is you guys chilling in the tavern.
Even when we all know each other, all campaigns start in a bar.
Yeah. I also had
Wouldn't
just
have it any
realized
other
after
way, bud.
all of this, I still have the
Universal rule.
interim token for Bryson here.
Give him his token.
I fixed it. So as you enter into the bar, it's a familiar bar. You're immediately greeted as soon as you open the door up above. You can smell the kitchen is cooking something delicious. It's got a sweet essence to it. Clearly, Lucian's in the kitchen baking again. You see Maxon kind of at the bar cleaning up a couple of the cups. You notice that it's a little bit emptier than you've seen it in the past. You don't see Mailer and his crew. They're clearly out on a hunt of some kind. Immediately to your right on the closest table, you see 3 members of the Lycans having dinner together. And then you see Kai, another member of the Lycan, quietly playing, or not quietly, but playing just some slow, kind of ambient piano music. And then, of course, over by the fireplace, you see the members of the Forsaken that you recognize. Scarlet, the leader of the Order, and Decker and Mildred, 2 of the oldest members of the Order. And then I guess it's kind of, welcome to the tavern. You've just come back after long travel and a bloody massacre. What do you guys do?
Gonna need a drink.
Yeah, I'll be coming with you.
Or
suppose.
silently nod. Close book and follow along.
All right.
Sit down at the bar covered in blood.
Yeah.
In 2 weeks, you haven't managed to bathe off the blood?
Nope.
That would just
I prestidigitation myself.
I did. I need to be sterile.
One silver.
Keep it a buck, fellas. I took a bath between now and then at some point. God damn. That's...
You'd have passed through 2 or 3 cities on the way, but Brint, the edgelord of the group, decided it's best to still present how deadly I am.
I'm still bathing.
We got to get an edit for his character with stink lines coming off of it.
no fact, Brent is also an avid Smash player.
True. Maxon, sir, can I have a bourbon, please?
Sure thing. As he's paid to basically just run this place entirely, you don't actually have to pay him individually as you go. It's just kind of a on-the-house kind of thing, paid for by Scarlet and the Tithanis fortune that she still carries. Maxon kind of just heads over, goes in, pours you a bourbon. He grabs 3 glasses. He then looks at Noah, and he looks at Orin, and you as well.
Make it a double then, since it's on the house.
Kind of almost shakes his head like it's always on the house, but makes it a double, pours it, slides to each of you.
I'll have a dwarven ale, please.
Comes over.
Have a dwarven. Standing by the. Bring it over here, Maxon. Bring it to the door.
Shub, you can move your token where you're sitting too.
I know I'm small for a dwarven ale, but I want a dwarven ale.
He brings it to you, and he kind of looks at you, and he's like, straw?
I'm fine, thanks. But actually, I should use a straw. I have my mask.
Well, yeah, you've got your mask on, so it was
Well,
like...
I guess I will use a straw, thanks, yeah.
It's like... I think at this point, I imagine he's accustomed to it. Like, guy orders a beer, and then just drinks it through a straw and won't take his mask off.
Yeah.
Then he kind of waves over to you, Shub. He's like, are you gonna have anything? Or are you just gonna stand at the door gawking?
I'm fine. I don't need anything changing my consciousness. I'll go sit there. But not gonna have anything.
Maxon just kind of almost like to himself, like, only person here that turns down free booze, but alright. Well, tell me, how'd the hunt go?
Went well. Got through the both camps, out the slavers, and back here. It's pretty standard.
Yeah, I don't think we found anything informative, did we? I don't remember.
No.
One of the easier hunts, though, even though there were a great number.
A lot of them.
Too easy, I would say.
Got stabbed about 5 or 6 times on it. Don't say too easy.
Yeah, you got stabbed. I was alright.
Not sure Noah was gonna make it for a second. Seems like that shot on shotgun was having some malfunctions hitting people over there.
I'm still tinkering. All right. I'm probably gonna go back to the bench and tighten up the firing pin or something. You know, it's a work in progress. You can't rush perfection.
Get a like
Maxon
a quiet,
just-
judgmental stare from Oren.
Yeah, Oren was just invisible through the whole thing. Just creeping his way through. Max is just kind of looking and he's like, yeah, kind of suspected it might be a little bit standard. Those foreign slavers, they really don't know what to expect from the order. It's like shooting fish in a barrel. At this point, you kind of hear Scarlet at this point. She's not exactly the most polite patron, but she kind of figures she gets away with it, paying for it. As you basically just see her hand lift up, shaking the glass. Like, as Maxon just kind of... You can almost see the, like, look on his face that says, I'm paid enough for this, but I'm also not paid enough for that kind of attitude. As he just goes and grabs the wine and wanders over and starts filling Scarlet's glass. Go ahead,
Well,
Bryce.
boys, you know who we're supposed to talk to around here to get another job? You think we should go directly to Scarlet?
What's the rush? We're always working. Can't we just take a break?
No.
Oren is
I mean,
Gotta
I
be
guess
out
I
there.
could shower first. I
Yeah.
guess I
You
could
should
finally
probably.
take
No,
a
You
I
should
didn't want
definitely
to.
probably.
I don't want to say
back.
anything, Brent, but probably.
I turned
Okay.
to
Yeah, I
to
wanna
Shub.
say-
Couldn't we just go back to the library?
We could. I probably should. I want to see if Pontificus has found anything new.
Yeah, he said he'd find some books for me on rare Scandinavian-style tarantulas, and apparently their venom could be used and dissected to take them from, but I haven't found anything.
What's a Scandinavia?
You've never heard of Scandinavia?
No, I'm not sure where that is.
To the north.
Which way is that?
What do you mean? Read a
This
book,
guy.
bro.
As he
Brett
spends
obviously
most of his
did
time
more time.
reading in the library beside you, but on
Yeah.
different things.
Okay, bro. Get a load of this guy.
Maxon returns after pouring the bottle of wine for Scarlet. It's right around this time too. You can see, Brent in particular can see out in the distance there, Lucian is just finished like pulling out what smells absolutely delicious. You can tell you're probably moments away from a fresh made pie.
Finally.
So Maxon,
Some
having
goodies.
not been part of the conversation with you, as you were talking with that, as he was busy basically dumping the whole bottle into a very large custom glass of Scarlet's. He's just like, so you guys gonna stick around for a bit, or are you going straight out on another hunt?
I think we're staying long enough to get some hot food and a shower, and then back out.
Have any sense of direction yet? Got your own leads, or
Out of leads, if you got any, take them.
I don't think Dr. Lunar Seeker has any sense of direction currently, based on this last conversation.
I'm the only one who knows where north is. What are you talking about?
Maxon just kind of comments. He's like, well, I haven't heard much myself, but the way Scarlet's drinking, I think something's got under her skin. I think she might know something, might have another job here. She seems to be kind of frustrated as the the Lycans aren't interested in it, and Mailer's nowhere to be found, and she might have something for you.
Fuck, almost sounds like we shouldn't go talk to her.
Yeah, Orin's immediately
Nobody
going
else
to get
wants
up.
this shit.
Yeah, Orin's immediately going to get up, like fold his book up and put it in his pocket, and then just walk over and stare at Scarlet expectantly.
Just
Yeah, just silently.
Old strategy,
like, just
Cotton.
stare
Let's see
down
if
her.
it works out for him.
or just staring at Scarlet. She's sitting there, and you can kind of tell as she struggles to make eye contact. She's been hitting that bottle hard.
Get the sauce.
She's pretty sauced, and history has told you that she's a bit of a mean drunk when she wants to be. And she just kind of looks at you, and she's just like, "What do you want?"
Just gonna continue to stare at her.
You always
Got a pretty one-track mind.
Well, spit it out. I can't read minds.
Would anybody like to
God.
wager on Orin getting hit right now?
50-50. But
Yeah, I think the rest of us are holding back, placing bets on what's about to happen.
See, last we left off, I can't read minds.
Good job.
You just got in the door. You ready to go out again?
Cleansing never stops. Of course I am.
That's not true at all, I chime in. Cleansing stops periodically. It's very important. There's like tons of books on this.
As you're just
like-
yelling across the room.
Yeah, Orin's just gonna give you the most disgusted look.
Yeah.
Like it never stops.
She kind of just turns and she's like, "You know, Mailer makes sense. He's making cash doing it, but I respect it." She's just kind of sitting there and like, you can kind of tell her head's almost kind of waving as she's trying to like remember all the details. She's clearly drunk herself into a bit of a stupor here. She's just like, "All right, let's Crown Pontificus, he's got the details. I'll explain it here to you. You can take off as soon as you're ready."
Yeah, Orin will walk back over and then look at Lunar Seeker and Shub, and he's like, "Why one?"
I didn't hear that. What?
Get the quiet one.
Pontificus?
Get the.
I'm not gonna... No. You get him.
No, you get him. I'm busy. He's just gonna sit back down and start writing again.
Pull your mic a bit closer to your face, Aiden.
Yep.
20
Is this any better?
No, you get
That's better. Yeah, you know you get him. No, you get him. You see Maxon's just like,
Well, also, he probably doesn't want to admit it, but Orin's never been to the library.
Ugh, I sigh. All right. I guess I'll go. We'll talk to him in the morning, I say.
"All right."
Fun.
We can wait one night.
Maxon's just like, "Sounds like a plan. I mean, at the very least, he looks at Brent. Take a bath, man."
Can you point me in the direction? I don't recall which way I'm supposed to go. It's been a while.
You don't know where to find your own room?
No. I must have hit my head too hard.
I could take a look if you'd like.
All right.
Take
It's
you back
almost
to your
like
room,
this is
buddy.
my first time here. It's
Okay, I don't have a map of the rest of the mansion, so I
Oh,
kind of just
okay.
assumed that the party's like, you've got a room.
Okay.
It's your standard
Alright.
room. Yeah,
I
there's no,
shall go
there's
to
just the
my-
tavern map in the mansion and the description of the tower. So yeah,
Got it.
it's all coming back now. I think I remember. I shall go take a shower. Okay, I'll
he's
be
like,
back. Gonna
he'll
go.
get the butler to like put the water on for you.
Thanks.
I guess one of the perks with the order is that living in the Tithanus Manor, you basically get all the luxuries of a wealthy household, of a wealthy house. I mean, you got like there is a servant, there is some maids, You know, there is that kind of stuff. There's not like a full suite of them, but there's also not like the same amount of people you would necessarily have in a full-on castle. The place is, based on the number of people staying in it, it is way larger than the amount of people than like it would need to be. Like it's clearly set up almost like you could have a barracks, you could have kind of everything. Like they would have all the knights. It's almost like its own little, I don't want to say necessarily Winterfell, but it's kind of like the keep portion of it.
Hail, companion.
Where you've got the rest of the kind of city areas. So yeah, the party kind of got in. They kind of all agreed they'll meet in the morning. So we can kind of go through. Brent comes in, freshly cleaned. Everybody's kind of sitting at the table.
Call that cleaned? I'll cast Prestidigitation on him. Clean his clothes.
No, I'm double clean. Thanks for that.
Hit him with that Old Spice. No, I mean
Axe
literally, I
just
throw
everywhere.
Old Spice at him. Like spice that I don't need.
Do you guys,
This has
do you
curative
guys have
properties.
any of that pie left? I wasn't able to get any.
So
Or
actually,
save it.
I'm
as
still
you
waiting
were-
for this pie to come out.
As you're basically being served breakfast, so like clearly Maxon's got this down to a routine. You guys sit down and not much longer than it basically takes you to kind of get organized and kind of, you know, rub your eyes a little bit. You've got a plate with full-on eggs, sausage, you know, you've got some toast with some bread from the bakeries that are still operating in Cinderbrook, and then beside it, each of you has just like a healthy chunk of Lucian-made apple pie.
Pie for breakfast. Hell yeah.
Apples are
Living
healthy.
with living with Lucian, there is sweets with every meal when you're in the mansion. Scarlet then is kind of just like, you know, she's kind of eating her breakfast. She's got a hangover, but at the same time, you feel like you've never seen her without one in the morning. So, kind of looks a little bit like you're used to seeing Scarlet. Decker and Mildred. Mildred's already in another glass of wine, sitting by the fireplace. She clearly woke up earlier than everybody and has already eaten and sat back down. Scarlet then just kind of looks, and she's just like, alright, so straight to work. Appreciate that about you. We have word that, we got word from kind of an independent source that Magister Cromley has been seen in Ilhelm. So you may not know who Magister Cromley is. Magister Cromley is the only werewolf behind the attacks that felled Tempest, that felled Cinderbrook, that has managed to escape our chasing down. We've hunted down everyone but this bastard, and he has always managed to slip past. We haven't even heard wind of him for 15 years. And yet, we have word that he's been spotted in Ilhelm, off to the west. We need
Does
to
he
kill that
travel
bastard.
alone?
We don't know much about him. We know he's a powerful mage, and using his magics, he has eluded all pursuit. We need his head. If you can, I'd like a second hide by the fireplace. And so by the fireplace, you can see in the map, is right where Scarlet has her her rocking chair that she's always known for sitting. There's a wolf's hide down on the ground. And this wolf's hide is the hide of her cousin that turned into a werewolf that was behind the assault that took down Tempest 36 years ago. That basically just resulted in the demolishment of the government and basically conquered the city. It was also that attack that resulted in the death of Scarlet's husband. Or as a result of it all. And particularly for Matt's knowledge, because most of the party have probably read it, the history of Tempest is that it was a full-on nation, basically a bunch of werewolves that had sentience and kind of learned to embrace the curse of lycanthropy, formed an army, took over Tempest, big war happened, a lot of people died. including Scarlet's husband as a result. The order then fell, and they then basically went into full-on assassination guerrilla warfare, and they started just killing all the werewolves, and particularly all the werewolf leaders. Magister Cromley is the only werewolf leader that has gotten away, and he's eluded them for 30-some-odd years.
Considering he hasn't been seen in so long, do you have any idea why now? Why he would let himself be seen since he's been so careful?
I think it might have been just an accident. The person that told us they're not a regular contact of ours, it seems like it's just a small shop owner. For whatever reason, he
Seems
knew who
convenient.
Magister Cromley was.
A werewolf
Seems
this
too
cunning.
convenient.
I agree. I concur. Sorry, I'm a doctor. I concur. A werewolf that's been around like this for this long and now all of a sudden being seen, this is a trap. Clearly. However, werewolf's blood, super valuable. Pondering.
There's no doubt that Cromley's powerful. That's how he's gotten away. But more so than his power, I think it's just his cunning. That's mostly why he's gotten away. But I mean, everybody's gonna slip up eventually. 36 years is a pretty long run considering our track record with taking them bastards down. I don't think he could
True.
take the group on a fight. I just think he might flee upon the first sign that he's actually at risk.
At the very least, we could try to find out where he's hiding out semi-permanently.
It's a good thing we have somebody with us that isn't very easily seen.
Stock
Well
up
then.
on silver.
Yeah, we'll definitely need any sort of anti-wolf's armor, weaponry.
Vanity is all that I need.
So most of the party, considering the Order's history, is if you've got a weapon, it's already got either silver ammo or silver. You've laced pretty much everything with silver with the amount of werewolves that the Order has historically been fighting. You wouldn't have lived very long had you been trying to fight them without silver throughout your history.
Oh yeah, of course. Absolutely.
So, yeah, for this kind of group, it's almost like a given.
Yeah, I knew that. Dungeon Master.
She's just like, yeah, I mean, take them down. Come back when you've done it. See what we can find after that. Seeing if anybody's got any comments or...
Oh,
I'm just looking up
Take
where
it.
Ilhelm is.
Oh, you're just checking
We're
on the
on
map?
it.
We're going to throw the map back up here.
We're on it, Scott.
Okay.
Yeah, alright, so, unless anybody's got any other particular questions or things they want to do, I mean, it's session 1, so unless you got something we want to do particularly beforehand, we can just kind of jump to traveling to Ilhelm.
We can call them smelly dogs on the way out.
Called the... call the lichen smelly dogs?
Yeah.
You basically just see, like, Bell and Tybalt like, well, fuck you too.
Oh, eat a dick.
Alright. So, the party heads out. So we'll jump back to the map here. So, Cinderbrook over to Ilhelm. You have to kind of go up. You can go up through Grimir, and then you can head over to Ilhelm.
What would you
cannot
call
really-
that? Going up. What would you call that?
I'd call this like north, maybe. Yeah.
Oh!
I'd call it
So
up.
that's what a north is. Okay, I see.
You stupid fucks.
Still no idea where this Saskatchewan is he speaks of.
I don't think it was Scandinavia. Saskatchewan.
Oh.
All right.
To be
It's
fair, I don't
North
think
of,
anyone
it's
knows.
north of Maple Band. Everyone knows that.
Okay. Oh, and she says, sorry, the one thing I forgot. RP moment there. She's just like, yeah, when you get there, you need to head to the Rusty Flagon and try to find Tomlin Scarther. He's the one that got a hold of them. And just kind of gave them the heads up that he's seen him. As the, yeah, so going south doesn't make a ton of sense because there is no pathway from Warthorn to Ilhelm. So really the only way that kind of makes sense is up through Grimir and then down over to Ilhelm.
We can swim.
That or you could take the sea and pass through Ebon Moor and then try to get to Ilhelm, but there's less of a standard trail, so you'd have a harder time getting your cart through. Or, you know, I guess you could just do regular horse-drawn carriage too. Or horseback. Judging by the distance, I think you can travel 30 miles in a day. So it's still going to take you a good 8-9 days to travel over to Ilhelm. So when you get to Ilhelm, I guess it depends, I guess, if you want to roll a history check or know anything about it, but
Sure.
Yeah, I would like to roll a history.
Oh, that's terrible.
I would like to roll a revisionist history check. I want to know the fake history. I want to know what the winners said.
With my roll, I might be able to tell you that, Matt.
basically what the revisionist history check, the Reaver Gate is basically Trump's wall. It didn't go as far as he wanted, but you know, Ilhelm is basically just the states after they think they're protecting themselves, but really just trap themselves. That's
Wait,
the revisionist
so
history.
Tempest is the states? Tempest is supposed to be the states?
No, that was just
He's just mean.
Yeehaw.
you guys all rolled terribly, so I gave Matt the revisionist history.
That's what I asked for. That would mean I rolled successfully.
So, as you guys kind of approach Ilhelm, Ilhelm's kind of a strange city where it's grown significantly since the fall of the Tempest government. But it's grown significantly with like homeless and refugees. So you've kind of got the outside city gates that were it wasn't that large a city. But now as you're kind of coming in, there's a lot of almost like recently made kind of settlements just around the outside of kind of the typical city gates. However, some of them are made fairly okay. I mean, there was like carpenter refugees and stuff, but it's expanded greatly, but the expansion has not been exactly like high quality living. It's definitely expanded outwardsly with much more kind of poverty style living. And it's kind of ended up with this nature of like an outside ring of poverty with more of like a wealthier inside. And so as you're kind of passing through with the cart, similar to when you were seeing kind of the number of homeless people in Tempest, you wouldn't necessarily call it quite the same degree of like homelessness, as the city is generally smaller. It is a little bit more forest-born or forest middle of it. So the kind of people that stuck around tended to be a little bit hardier. It's kind of like a lot of people out camping, but that's like their lifestyle now. So you're kind of passing through the cheap shacks, the enough to kind of hide them from the sun in the winter, and a lot of people just kind of almost living their life kind of outside of it. You can start to see where some areas are starting to kind of get some farmland going, but it took them a bit to kind of clear all the trees and everything and kind of really start establishing proper crops. But it's really just an outer ring of poverty. The Rusty Flagon, that's the name I gave it, right? Is going to be more inside the city. As you kind of ask around. Then you kind of get to the gate of the city. This gate, however, is in fact actually closed. Unlike the unmanned gate of Cinderbrook, there does appear to be some folks there.
down on the gate.
You kind of see kind of a disheveled looking man kind of creep up at the top thing, and he's just like, "We don't let the homeless in."
Look
Does he have a
homeless to
reason?
you?
Kind of takes a look at your scruffy beard, and he's like, "Yeah."
Allow me. I pull out my I pull out my PhD, which I do carry with me at all
Boy,
times.
you have that on you. Oh.
You're
He's
just kind of
rifling
like,
through your briefcase.
Yeah. There. I'm a doctor. We are definitely not homeless. We want to ask you some questions.
"Look, I don't got time for that kind of shit. The fee is 40 gold if you want in."
This is order business. Really want to fuck with us right now?
Do we have like a badge that we can like?
Do we have a badge? Probably
Yeah.
should.
FBI, open up.
He's
Ladies
just
and
like,
gentlemen, we got him.
under whose order of business? It's 40 gold or get the fuck out.
I said this is order
Where is
business.
So sorry. So I'm trying to understand. There's a gate, and then he's behind the gate, or is it a gate?
Yeah,
and
so I
he's on top
imagine
of the
like
gate?
I imagine there's like the gate, and then there's like the kind of pillars that they can kind of be up above. So like kind of on each side of the gate, there's like the pillar, and almost like with the archer stands. And so he's just kind of like up in the archer stands as the gate is like closed, and then he's basically just kind of like talking down to you guys from like 20 feet up.
Orange just gonna sort of look at the others, and he's like, "I'll meet you guys inside." And he's just gonna turn spectral and walk right through the gate.
Just walk right past the guy.
Yeah,
like,
he just walks right through the gate.
like you can see the guy's like, you didn't pay, but also just watched you walk through the gate, and he's like, "I ain't fucking with that." And he kind of just turns to the rest of the party, and he's like, "Still 40 gold."
Can I cast Charm Person?
This one man is just stopping our campaign, just dead in his tracks.
Go for it. Charm
It's
person.
probably, you know what's even funnier? I bet we all have like a lot of gold. We're like, no, bro, I earned this. Like,
Fuck off!
I'm not paying
Yeah.
this man. This like I'm not paying
40
this man
gold.
$400.
yeah, I'm
Or
looking at my
like-
spells. I'm seeing what I could do. Maybe.
I'm just trying to double check what it does, but now D&D Beyond is just being incredibly slow.
Charm person, they basically view you as a friend.
Thank you
I
for
threw it in
sharing.
the chat there.
I'm pretty sure they know you're getting you're charming them by the end.
Well,
of
after
it.
they do.
They
Yeah,
do
yeah,
at the
yeah.
end.
Okay, yeah.
Once they're in, they're like, "Oh, what the what? No! Why would you do that?
How would you do this to me?
How dare you?"
So as you cast the spell, you can kind of see him like his eyes kind of almost like twitch a little bit as he's trying to resist it. And all of a sudden he kind of has a smile and he's like, "All right, for friends like you, 20 gold pieces."
Come on, buddy. We went through this last time. You said this time would be free next time we came.
This
All
is
right,
the first time.
I'll just cast suggestion on him. Be like, I just suggest you let us go through this for
How many
free.
spell slots can we burn on the TSA agent before we get in the city?
Bro, 2 spells in, I'm about to cast Ray of Sickness. I swear to God.
Oh
he
my
just
goodness.
he kind of just like, "Yeah, right. You guys aren't worth the trouble. You don't look like you're the regular rabble." And then kind of just like walks down and cracks the door open, and he's just like, he's not even like a don't tell anybody kind of situation. There's nobody to give him shit for doing it. He's just like, "Have a nice day." I'd say enjoy your stay, but you're in Ilhelm.
Thanks.
True.
Thank you, sir.
So you guys now find yourself on the other side of the gate. You're now inside of Ilhelm. And
I imagine him being like,
Comes on, enter your own peril.
Literally, the spell ends. He like as he closes the gate, both the suggestion spell and the charm person spell ends, and he's like, "Wait a minute, you casted spell magic on me. You guys need to." And then it just kind of like clues into his mind that like you just casted magic on him, and he's just a lowly idiot who now does not have the protection of a wall. And he's, you know what? Just don't worry about it. Don't worry about it. Don't worry about it.
We'll call
Thanks,
it even.
bro.
We'll call it even.
Call it even.
Hey,
Call it even.
man.
Don't worry about it.
Here's, hold on, 240 gold.
What?
How do you have 240 gold?
I'm just saying.
I don't think you have 240 gold back.
Okay, I don't, I guess, but it'd be funny. if you did.
I think the party found
Be cool if
300
you
gold
did.
last session.
Yeah.
I think is what I dropped, and then it was like split 5 ways, so everybody's carrying like 60.
Anyway,
He's just, yeah, have a nice day, have a nice day. Like, totally understands that one guy walked through the wall, and 2 people just casted magic on him. You know what? You guys aren't,
Fuck it.
it's not worth 20 gold. It's not worth it. Got better things to
20
do.
gold's also a lot.
Yeah.
Checkmate TSA.
It's enough to
You
keep
win this
everybody
time.
out from the... He basically puts the number that it's like, if you really have business, you'll pay. And if you live outside the gate, you don't have 20 gold. And then as you guys manage to magic your way through, he's like, you know what? This wasn't worth the gamble.
Fuck it. I like to live.
I like to live.
where
But
to
actually,
then?
once you get in the gate, it's in a bit better shape than some of the other places. This isn't that uncommon here in Tempest. Your history in Tempest has said that some places just totally fell to ruins as soon as there was no government and guards to keep order. And some places kind of thrived. Merchants with enough money saw an opportunity to gain power. Criminals with enough money saw an opportunity to gain power. Started running it within themselves. Started running their own effective government. We are the government now, within our own little thing. Ilhelm seems to be kind of one of those. However, it seems to be focused more within its within the city itself, and not so much worried about the rabble outside. And so when you're in there, it's actually a fair bit cleaner. It's actually in better shape than Cinderbrook, although a fair bit smaller, significantly smaller. Cinderbrook being, I'm gonna go with Canadian equivalent, but Cinderbrook being like a Canadian equivalent like Vancouver or Toronto, and Ilhelm
big
being
jump. Vancouver or Toronto?
Well, I was just thinking some population in the millions. We're probably not in the millions in Cinderbrook, but population in the millions. Big cities. And
Van
then,
is like barely 1 mil.
you know what I mean, though? I think
I know.
Greater Van's like 2, but
Sure. Yeah. Surrey.
anyway. Where Ilhelm is more like, 10% that population. It's much more like your cities, like the ones I grew up in. So if Vancouver, we say, is 1 million, and city I grew up in, Kamloops, is like 100,000, Ilhelm's like that equivalent. Kind of drop in size from Cinderbrook. However, even within that drop in size, you can tell that it's been better kept than some other places. They seem to be rocking their gates. The guy at the door wasn't wearing any official garb or anything. He just seemed to be a guy at the door. Who knows if he just set that up as his own operation or not. But, yeah.
So, I guess we'll just walk around until we find this rusty flagon.
Just gonna wander aimlessly or gonna ask for directions?
Maybe we
Yeah,
should go to a
fine.
tavern and ask for directions.
You want to
Find
go
the
to a tavern to ask for directions to another tavern? Alright.
Well, I just want to drink, mostly.
Hell yeah.
Yeah. Let's find some townsfolk, point us to the nearest tavern, and we can ask the barkeep where the rusty flag is.
Or a
After
hotel
buying
or
some of
something,
their
an
beer.
inn. Do they have those like you are here, like on a mall or something? Maybe we can.
No,
I would assume no.
As you guys are kind of able to, like, as you try to approach people to even ask, they seem quite immediately defensive. They, like, look at the party, and they just, you're trying to come up and ask them a question, and they're doing their absolute best to kind of shy away from you. Eventually, you're able to find enough information that, okay, they can point you in the right direction, and you're on your way off to the Rusty Flagon. You kind of enter in it, it seems the one guy that gave you directions seemed like he was trying to get you to enter his bar, a much fancier, nicer bar. They've named it Spirits and such. And
Let's go.
you know, he's really just trying to get you guys in there. And he kind of just eventually gives up, and he kind of points you off to the Rusty Flagon. And as you're going through it, you're starting to enter the part of the city that's, yeah, while it's still within the gate, you can clearly tell it's starting to get a little bit rougher, it's starting to get a little bit dirtier. It's not kind of within the well-maintained areas. The houses are a little bit smaller. And yeah, I wouldn't say so much poor, but it's definitely more lower middle income and not so much supported. When you then go find the Rusty Flagon, it took you a bit to kind of truly find it. It's not really well labeled. You kind of just end up it's kind of one of those like hole in the wall kind of pubs. You get in and there's barely just lit by like candlelight. You know, they don't even really have any proper torches. It's like daylight, but no proper windows. As you kind of come in, the place really only has a couple of people in it. There's like a dwarf sitting in the kind of the one corner, just sitting there slamming some ale. There's a guy sitting on another side, kind of sitting there almost like, you know, knees kind of quickly kind of up and down, seems a little bit nervous. The bartender's there, and then there's just like two guys at the bar, just kind of slamming beers, dressed like they just finished potentially a bunch of work, potentially some tradesmen.
Well, Ferric, you wanted to go get your beer. Go see if they actually serve any here.
I walk up to the barkeep and I say, "Excuse me, fine sir or ma'am. I can't see them. I don't know what they look like. Do you have any
Are you
dwarven
blind?
ale?"
Dwarven's hard to come by out this far. Hasn't been a lot of shipments from out east.
Sure.
We can get you some of the local stuff brewed here. Does
All
the
right.
job.
Whatever you have that's quite stout. Quite thick.
You can kind of tell he's just kind of like, sure. And then clearly as he goes to pour, he's got one selection of just
Yeah.
like, this is the house beer. It is the only
Yeah.
beer. Do you want drunk or not? As they kind of bring it over to you. I mean, when they say locally brewed, what they mean was, it's not like when you go here and you're like, oh, this delicious local brewery. It's like, it's the guys that
Yeah.
can get you drunk.
I turn to Noah and Brent and I go, "Ugh, I hate these local breweries."
As they're just
Nothing
kind of
wrong
like,
with a local brew.
it's 1 silver.
Slap the silver down.
And then he's just kind of just looking at you. She's not that I mind the business, but I don't recognize you lot. It's kind of a dwarven woman just kind of sitting there. When you mentioned the dwarven ale, you could kind of tell there was almost like a gleam, like she misses dwarven ale.
Amen, brother. Brother is gender neutral.
Gotcha.
A bro
what
is
have
a
you-
bro.
What brings you here?
Work.
Yeah. I'm trying to think of how to say it diplomatically. To business that is private.
We're looking for a comrade that we haven't seen in a long time.
That's it.
Really? I've heard that one a few times. I might be able to help. Might not be.
Have you seen any fine lichen gentlemen around here recently? Maybe somebody who visits frequently, maybe the first time you've seen him, just like you've seen us?
Well, I mean, if they were lichen, not like we would really know. It's really bold of you to bring up lichens around these areas, though. Typically, lichens are pretty...
Sometimes they-
This is Brian kind of speaking. Lichens are... I mean, they literally caused the fall of the nation. They're pretty hated.
Maybe you could smell them.
Has there been any disappearances or claw marks on walls that you can't explain lately?
Disappearances, I mean, it's hard to say. Within the city walls, no more than normal. Outside the city walls, who's to say? I haven't heard, no one's paying attention. Not enough folks care about them out there.
That's what's wrong with this world today. People just don't care enough about what's outside their walls.
True, close-minded.
I'm not gonna say you're wrong, I just, fuck them. She then just starts going and cleaning another glass.
Well, what do you guys think we should do next?
At which point,
Kill him.
the guy that seemed kind of like nervous, knee shaking in the corner, you know, kind of just like constantly looking around him. He kind of comes around and he's like, "You said you're looking for somebody, and you mentioned lichens. You're not from the Order, are you?"
I turn to him and I say,
If we were-
I'd like it if you fucked off, buddy.
That's pretty good.
Thanks.
He
That was-
kind of
that
just
was-
like he
Depends
kinda
on who's
just-
asking.
Yeah.
What is your name? Good sir.
You can kind of see he's kind of nervous, and I don't know. I don't know if I should say anything. My name's Tomlin.
Ah, then yes, we are.
Oh,
Should say something.
okay, good. He just seems terrified. Like, everything that seems to be about this, he just shaking in his boots.
Why would you pick this place as a place to meet? Like, there's many other bars around here that looked much better, much less
Yeah.
anxiety-inducing.
Yeah, bro.
You're
Could have gone to
clearly
the
having an issue with.
Well, you could have gone to the 3 broomsticks, but you chose the hog's head.
I don't want to be seen. Figured this would be an easier place to meet with a bunch of folks that... And he kind of looks at you all like, I guess, other than Matt, most of you look mostly normal. And then Matt's wearing the Plague Dosker mask. I just didn't want to be seen. I don't know. I felt like...
I guess that makes sense.
I think
look
he
around.
expected... He expected... You can kind of tell when he's kind of like gesturing towards Matt. I think he expected with the Order and the crazy stories he's heard, just these really stand out, you know, like Grim Reaper with a giant scythe, like almost like anime characters in the standard inn kind of situation, you know what I mean? I think it's kind of what he was
Which one
expecting.
of these is an MC? It's like a crowd.
Yeah, pretty much,
One
right?
person
Like-
has spiky blue hair.
Oh no, he's got protagonitis.
Yeah. Pretty
His
much
armor is blessed with plottiness.
that. I think that's kind of the thing
So
that
I
he was
look around.
expecting.
There's no one really in this bar, right? Except for us, the keep, and this guy.
There's like one other,
Yeah,
2 or 3 other people kind of off in the far corner.
yeah. So I
Do
look
they
around.
appear to
well,
be paying
if-
attention to us?
Absolutely not. Couldn't give a fuck about you.
Okay. So I say, well, in that case, I guess you picked a respectable location.
Appropriate, I would say, more than respectable. You can kind of almost see
Tell
the
us what we
bartender
want.
just like overhearing just like a bit of that, and she's just like, fuck this guy.
Yeah, tell us what we want to know.
Okay, 10-second break. I have to go to the bathroom so bad. Sorry. And we return from an impromptu break. All right, and Tomlin kind of just like, all right, well, you know, I guess we could keep standing around, or let's go sit down. Let's chat.
The edgy campaign, I have to ask, is there like a dimly lit table in the corner that we can all like shuffle into? And
Absolutely.
hell yeah, okay.
Perfect.
Just like one candlelight. I mean, it's like the light flickers, and as the light flickers, you see like glimpses of Orin's face, and then just disappears again. It's just enough to kind of flick him in and out of invisibility.
Alright, this is annoying. Can I cast light at the candle and just make it glow brighter?
Fuck your edge.
That would be really disorienting if it was like flickering darkness, because it would just look like he flipped in and out of reality every few seconds.
I just kind of almost imagined it a little bit like where you see like the smoke that's kind of obscuring, but instead of the smoke, it's like the flickering of the light. But yeah, you're right. He's just kind of like fading in and out. It's not like a light switch on and off, like you can and can't see him. I imagine it was almost just like a ghostly kind of.
Here, I'll make this easier. I'll make this easier. I cast Sacred Flame.
I don't think that works how you think it works, Matt. It's not an actual flame, buddy.
What do you mean? It's in the title.
It's radiant damage.
A chill touch is neither a chill or a touch, but
Who came up with this game? Wizards of the Coast. God damn.
No, Wizards of the Coast bought it.
was just yeah.
All right. So I mean, yeah, you can cast the thing. It kind of brightens up. Initially, as it goes from pretty dark to now, effectively, you've just taken a dark room and flicked the light switch on everybody. It's just, whoa, God. You find your edgy, dimly lit corner and goes, and like everybody looks around and you just
spiders crawl back into the holes and all over the place.
Yeah, pretty much. Like, you chose the corner no one sits in. Like, it had, clearly, oh God, look at all the cobwebs. Like, I felt better before seeing the light turn on and show me how, like,
okay,
unclean.
I'll cast some prestidigitations and start cleaning random cobwebs.
Just, oh God. Sitting there casting it. And he's just like, oh man, I didn't know how long you guys would take to be here. Like, again, it took you guys like 8-9 days, and he's like, I've just been chilling every night. I was worried that maybe you've come. And, like, you start to see like the panic as he's just muttering and muttering and muttering. Like, I just didn't think you guys would come. I didn't know if you would come. I mean, my wife's upset. I've just been spending all the time here, but I swear, honey, I'm not like.
Donlin, we're here. Got your message. You have us in front of us, and you have our undivided attention. What did you see?
Well, so I was down in the trade district, right? And I was just picking up some supplies for the shop, you know, so we could do some baking. My wife bakes pies, and we sell some pies, and we sell a bit of everything. And well, that's when I just saw him standing there with like 3 men. I saw Magister Cromley. He was buying lunch.
How did you know it was Magister Cromley?
You'll never forget Magister Cromley's face.
I haven't had the pleasure.
Right, yeah, sorry, Right, yeah. This man, you can tell, like, for how much of a babbling goofball he's being right now, he's probably in his early 40s. And he then just kind of looks at you guys and he's like, I was there in Cinderbrook when it fell. I was 8 years old, and I saw Magister Cromley. I'll never forget that face.
Can you describe it?
As he starts thinking about Magister Cromley, he's like, well, so the weirdest part is he hasn't aged in 30 years, but he's kind of got medium long hair. It kind of slicks back, so it kind of almost like a little bit pompadour in the front. He's kind of got some silver streaks that kind of come through it, down kind of from the front and up along the back. So he kind of oils his hair back. Not man bun, but, you know, just kind of slick back. One of the standout features of him is he has like a mechanical eye. So instead of the one eye, he's just straight up got like some kind of mechanical contraption. It's kind of got some bronze color to it with some kind of green energy that seems to work it. It doesn't seem to follow his regular eyes, as it seems to kind of go all over the place. Very reminiscent of what's his name from Harry Potter, the teacher there in
Mad Eye.
Mad-Eye Moody.
Yeah. Very, very similar in concept to Mad-Eye Moody. He always seems to dress in fairly fine clothes, carries himself a cane more for the appearance of it. Tall, maybe like 6'3", 6'4" kind of guy, but slender. But he's like, I'll never forget that face, and even if I had, you don't see many with a mechanical eye like that.
Would I have known anything about Cromley before we came here?
Well, as Magister, actually roll me history. Yeah, you know a decent amount of Cromley. Cromley was, you know that Cromley was, as Magister, basically head of, he was right-hand man, kind of the counselor to Albert. As kind of the head mage, he was then kind of head advisor, in a sense, but also kind of leading with the magic. He was basically standing there right beside Albert as Adrian was felled. Which you would basically understand. Kind of as serving his magister, he kind of served almost as like general within the werewolves. But then
so
really,
I would also know that this description Tomlin's giving us is on point.
yes. Yeah, you'd be like, you've not to say you'd have a picture, but in particular, to document his hair, no. But you've definitely seen books. You've definitely even seen stuff that was like potentially published by him, as he was kind of studying magic, particularly I guess general kind of wizardry magic, assault magic, things like that, illusion magic, particularly involved in transmutation magic. You do know that in his books he never really described how he got the eye, but you've definitely heard of the eye, of his mechanical eye. It's a well-known... Yeah, as soon as you hear him describe the eye, you're like, that's probably Cromley. That makes sense.
Okay.
Lines up with your facts.
Okay. Yeah, after he's described him, I'd like to ask him if he like followed him around at all after he was buying lunch.
Oh God, no. Oh God, no. I couldn't. What if he recognized me? I mean, I've aged, but... that man is terrifying.
Okay.
Did you hear him say anything?
No.
Men he was with. Features stick out on them.
I wrote down the name too. There was one man that really stood out. A hulking man, like 6'8", just massive guy. Kind of long blonde hair, kind of down all the way to his shoulders. Dressed finely. The two that were with him seemed to just kind of, I don't know, they seemed like they were following the big hulking man. Kind of, I wouldn't necessarily say bodyguard, but they were just kind of hanging around. But he definitely seemed like he was deep in conversation with the big, large guy, and not as much with the other two. Sorry, I couldn't give more. I don't know, as soon as I saw Cromley, all I could think of, all I could see is I could just see the flames, I could see the assault, I could see the werewolf striking down my father again. And I panicked, I ran. I damn near just took off running in the street away from him. I was worried he saw it, and I know that is a dangerous man. I also know what the Order has done to them, to the werewolves.
What is the name of the place where you saw him getting lunch again?
Right. Yeah, he saw him entering in the, we'll call it, I didn't think of the restaurant name that he was kind of heading on into, but, we'll call it Steak and Mead.
Sometimes you gotta workshop the restaurant name, and you know, simple wins out.
Simple wins
Where
out.
I'm going with that is, since it's awesome that you spotted him and gave us a call, but that may be the next location to go to see if he's
I
a
concur.
regular or if they know.
What time of day is it?
Right now, it's you guys got there like mid-afternoon. I think I described it like it was dark inside the tavern, even, or inside the inn or tavern. Yeah, that's the one. Even though it's like right outside, midday.
All right, lads. How about we go for some dinner there?
Yeah, dinner.
Be rather obvious though.
Maybe we have a group waiting outside in case something goes sideways. So not all 6 of us or 5 of us are hopping in.
I'm happy to observe and do reconnaissance if you all want to find out more information about Cromley's whereabouts.
Guess where would you want to stake out? He basically saw Cromley at this point like weeks ago. And it's just been panicking since then.
Probably stake at the restaurant.
Okay. I think we want to go to the restaurant. I think Aiden's gonna like kind of hide, like maybe in plain sight, maybe in the shadows, maybe a little bit of both. But we're gonna go see if we can find some clues or anything.
Exactly.
All right. So, Tomlin's just like, so you guys are gonna, oh thank God, you're gonna hunt him down.
We'll take care of it. You can go home now. You look like you need a rest.
Yeah, the look in his eyes, he hasn't slept in days.
I give him some like a vial that'll just help him sleep, just for thank you.
Or you can come with us if you'd like to avenge your father.
I feel contacting you has been enough to avenge him. I really am. I have to get back to my family.
If we have any more questions, how can we contact you?
He's kind of hesitating. He's like, He then like draws on a map, and he puts just like a. He just kind of puts an X, and he's like, "There's a well over there. There's a loose rock. I've hid something to help me calm down in there. It's a good hiding spot. Go find the loose rock in the well on like this part of the map, kind of over in the east area." He's like, "And just put a note. If you need something, I'll arrange another meetup." I'll check it every day.
All right, sounds good.
Steak and meat, boys.
Does Tomlin leave?
Yeah, I mean, as everybody kind of leaves, Tomlin kind of leaves as well. You can kind of see as he comes out, he's checking over his shoulder. He actually requests that you guys leave at like separate times for him so that he's not like seen with you in case something goes down. Kind of hood over his head and poof, scurries off.
That's fine.
This dude's been living on a fucking razor's edge for a week and a half.
Yeah, we should follow him.
Yeah, just to fuck with them.
No, actually, I think he's sketchy as fuck.
I mean, he
He
definitely
wants to communicate to us by a dead drop.
Yeah, I was gonna say he's got some Cold War era dead drops around the city. He just had them in place, I'm assuming.
He does not want us to know where he lives.
I can follow
That
him
Orin
if it's of concern.
Well, his wife makes pie. That's a lead. I'm sure he's just a concerned citizen.
You guys, what you want to do? Welcome to D&D. Like literally,
Alright.
as soon as you said it, I started thinking about what we would do down that route. So,
Well, I mean, we don't all have to go to Steak and Mead. Some
I
of us
should be
could
more
follow
than
him.
enough to follow him.
Orin's gonna follow
I have
him,
my
and
specialty.
I would just say just follow him to see where he lives. It's probably good enough.
See if the map was accurate, right?
Okay.
sure.
Yeah.
Orin
Steal
will
whatever
cast
comes.
Pass
yeah.
Without Trace then, and follow along behind the other guy.
All right, give me stealth checks.
All of us?
Just Aiden, who's following him.
Okay.
Or if you're following with Aiden, then
No, I'm not.
My character's not athletic enough for this sort of thing.
31.
Jesus Christ.
You
So-
know,
Plus 20.
no, he used pass
Pass
without
without
trace.
trace.
Oh,
Gives me plus 10. I have a plus 10 naturally, and then plus 10 as well.
Yeah, he's like, I mean, Aiden, you're following him, and to you, it's just like, this is, I mean, you've followed much people who know what to look for, and this guy's just a panic-induced middle-aged man looking over his shoulder. As you're following him, you very quickly realize that you're following him exactly to the location of the dead drop that he suggested. And as you can kind of see, he's looking around. He then kind of loosens the brick, pulls out basically what looks like some green leaf. And
stash.
This
He
guy
then
has been
just-
smoking dope.
he said he has a
Freeze.
stash of stuff to help him calm down. And he literally grabs it, puts it back in. You kind of see him slip something back in his pocket, and off he goes.
Stop
You then
right there,
follow
criminal
him.
scum. You violated the
Can't
law.
let his wife.
You then follow
most
a bit
desperate
further,
crimes
and he
committed
basically
against
dips
Skyrim.
off to an alley as he's, does what he can as he just like kind of goes and he lights himself a joint, like just trying to calm down, like, and you can see him just like shaking, and then of course as he does it, he's all right, kind of continue to stake him out for a bit, and you follow him, and he goes actually not that far, maybe only like another 2 or 3 blocks. He then enters into his household, and basically he just runs in, and there's a woman that greets him at the door. You can see the shadows of what looks like 2 children inside. He basically just enters in and embraces her
Just
in a
because-
hug.
Oh,
Just
this
because
is so
it's
wholesome.
hilarious. Just because it's hilarious, Orin is going to phase into the house and just keep watch on this family from like a hidden position until he's contacted. I don't know, he's suspicious of these guys. I don't know.
Yeah, you spend
Maybe
that
he
whole
hired
time
a
there.
fake family.
You never know.
Never. These could all be paid actors.
Basically,
Alex
what you're
Jones
witness to
style.
is you
Crisis
spend.
actors.
Roll me another stealth check as you're hiding in their home. Yeah.
I'm
Yeah,
picturing,
you're just-
like into the Spider-Verse, like he's just hanging off the ceiling.
So yeah, you're just like hiding in the house, like up in the attic or something like that, or wherever. You've just managed to hide yourself, like right in the middle of their home. What you're privy to in this time is they start arguing because she's basically mad at him because he said that as soon as they met the order, they could leave. They're terrified that if this goes south, he'll get caught up in it and they both know what Cromley is capable of, and if it gets tracked back to him, he's doomed them all. She didn't want him to tell you at all, and now he's trying to stay in case you need more information.
Oh, that's
And
very nice of him.
So now he's in a full-on argument. Like, he wants the revenge on his father. Like, this is the only way we can do that. We won't be safe. Like, if they can finish him, then we don't necessarily have to leave. Or maybe we leave, but we're not as in much danger. He just stumbled upon the guy walking into a restaurant, but he is terrified that this decision is basically the end of his life and his family's life. And they're having it's like a caring about each other argument with his wife. But he fully wants to leave town. You can see in the corner their bags are packed. Like, they are ready to leave.
I feel so bad now.
Aiden dangling in the rafters like, man, this guy's he's legit.
Yeah, stand-up guy. Wow. It's incredible. There's no good people left in this world. Crazy.
It's funny, I actually knew in advance that he was planning on leaving and was actually just going to dip as soon as you guys asked him to stay. That hesitation was just like, yeah, okay, I could do that. Fuck, like.
The ultimate good Samaritan. But driven by revenge.
Now we really gotta remember to tell him that if we find Cromley and end him, we should probably remember to tell him.
We should definitely put it in the weed box or the weed rock, because that would be poor form if we didn't at this point.
Yeah, that's what you're seeing, Oren. You're probably hanging out most of the night at this point. The rest of the party.
Yeah, fuck it. He set up like a small stalker camp in the like corner of one of the rooms, like on top of her dresser, and he's just like sitting there watching.
Little do they know, there's a serial killer in their bedroom, just waiting. Okay, so we head back to the rest of the party. You guys kind of rewind time a little bit. This is pretty much the entirety of Aiden's night as he's just hanging out.
So fucked up.
Hey, you have the option to leave at any point.
He just wouldn't. I've thought about it. I'm like, it doesn't. I mean, yeah, no, it makes sense. He would stay.
He would just stay, just chill, and like watching this guy. Yeah, so we go to the rest of the party. A little bit rewound time. You travel on over to the Steak and Mead. All right, thank you. If you happen to make it all the way to the end of this first episode, then thank you very much. You can catch part 2 of 4 of VD2, The Order of the Crimson Moon, next Tuesday at 1 p.m. PST. And I hope to see you there. Make sure to like, comment, and subscribe.